Hey there, planners. Today I am going to be making a little dashboard with this piece of acetate, all about goals, motivation, goals, kind of motivating me to work hard, hustle, do my best. I've pulled out a bunch of old Happy Planner sticker books that I want to try to use up, and so I'm going to be making this dashboard today kind of stickering fun. I'm also going to be answering a lot of your questions. So you guys leave questions for me on my videos, on my Instagram page, on the Facebook group that we have for Planning Annie. So I'm going to be kind of going through those and answering your questions today. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. All right, so just a little bit of note about the supply I'm using. I have this scrap. This actually came out of my scraps bin. This is a very thin piece of acetate that I was using for a different project. And it was a bigger sheet that had some cutouts of it. I cut it down to be B6 size to go my everyday carry B6 Stylogy planner. I'm going to be putting inspirational stickers on here all about goals. Plan on using this sometime in the future, especially around my goal setting pages. So just wanted to use up, I've got a bunch of Happy Planner stickers where I've probably used about half of the stickers, maybe less, but I wanted to try to pull out some of those stickers and just create a sticker dashboard. This is kind of like a bust my stash type video, and using up the stickers that I have, using up the supplies that I have, and making something unique and pretty for my planner. But I also wanted to go through some of your questions because you guys asked the greatest questions, and I thought it would be nice to kind of highlight some of those questions and answer them as I am working on this dashboard. If you have questions that you think of, or you hear in someone else's question makes you think of one, leave that down in the comments below. I would love to make this sort of a regular series if you all would like to hear some Q&A every now and then. So leave all your questions down below as we go through. All right, to start with, as I'm flipping through and looking at these stickers, I am going to start with a question from the Disorganized Planner, Shelly Orstein. And actually, this came on a YouTube video, and Shelly actually has a YouTube channel. I'll leave that link down below, so go check her out. She's just brand new starting her YouTube channel, it looks like, and I did watch a couple videos and they look awesome, so go check that out. And so she asked, would I be willing to share my brain dump reference for people who are just getting started with brain dumps? I love this question because I love sharing. It's something I try to do quite frequently. And so yes, absolutely I would be willing to share. And I have actually shared. I will leave a link down below to my Instagram account. If you head over to my Instagram account and click on the links, you will see an entire site full of freebies. I post monthly cover pages for your planners there, so I'll be posting the next month soon. So that's a great place to go at least once a month to check out the monthly freebie that you can print out and use somewhere in your planner. But I also have a lot of other resources like inserts that I use for both work and personal planning. And I do have my brain dump triggers list. So I would definitely go check that out if you're interested in starting on brain dumps. All right, next question comes from Phillips. He asked this question on my mid-year planner stack video. And he says, is there any moment in time when the work and personal journals get confused? And so I use separate planners for work and personal. And I do this because of the nature of my work. I deal with some confidential stuff and really cannot have my personal items mixed in with my work items. Plus that's just the way I work. It just helps me work to keep things completely separate. And so the answer is no, they never get confused. You know, I definitely have distinct lines. I don't mix any personal items in with work items. They're very separate. They're in separate planners. I have on this channel a full playlist for work versus a full playlist for personal. And so they really do not get confused for me. I have had folks ask if I actually carry around my work planner with me all the time, and the answer is no. Based on the nature of my job, I am pretty stationary. A lot of my work is like desk work and office work, and so I can keep my planner stationary for work right there with my work setup. Now, since March of 2020, I have been working remotely, and this is, mid 2021, and I'm still working remotely. I'm probably going to continue to do that in some capacity just based on the nature of the changing world we live in. And so I do keep a separate space set up for work at home, and that's where my work planner and all my work information stays. And so absolutely no confusion for me. I don't know that that's the case for everybody. I think it really depends on the type of job that you have and the type of work that you do. So I can fully understand how some positions, some professions, it could easily get mixed up, particularly if you don't have like set time frames where this is work and this is personal. But for me, I do not have any problem with that at all. All right, the next question comes from Melroner, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but it was based on a planner flip through video, and it said, "What pin is that?" And I actually get this question all the time. Here are two versions of the pin. It's the same pin. I also have a yellow one that I use for work, and you'll see in all my work videos. This is by far my favorite pin of all time. I use it all the time. I have multiples. I have 3 right now, and I'm actually eyeing another one that may or may not be in my Amazon cart. This is the Uni Jetstream multi-pin. So it's got red, blue, yellow, green ink multi-pin, and then it also has a pencil and an eraser as the tip, and I absolutely love it. Most of them that you can purchase come in size 0.7. I actually buy the 0.5 refills. It's very easy to change out the refills. You just pop the new one in, and I saw a great idea from someone else about actually filling multiple ink cartridges with black in different sizes. I thought that was a really great idea, and I might consider doing that. But I get a lot of questions about that pen. It is my favorite. I actually discovered it when I was briefly using a Hobonichi Cousin, and the Tomoe River paper can be really tricky. This pen is fantastic in the Tomoe River paper, and I do love having the different colors. So I have multiples. I will probably continue to buy these, and I've even gotten my daughters hooked on them. So definitely get a lot of questions about that, and it is one of my favorite pens of all time. Okay, the next question comes from T. Michelle B2, and this was on my Instagram page. Michelle made me laugh so hard. So she is asking about, what do you do when you get into those situations that you do not have a planner, or you can't get to your planner and you have an idea? So her example is riding in the car. When she's riding in the car, she has all kinds of good ideas, and she's even considering mounting a notebook holder on her dashboard to hold her planner so that she can write down ideas as they come to her in the car. So Michelle, please don't do that. First of all, I don't even know how you would mount a notebook holder on your dashboard. But even if you did, I think trying to write down an idea while you're in the car and potentially driving could be quite dangerous. And I can only imagine trying to explain to a police officer that you had a really good idea and you needed to jot it down in your planner. So don't do that. What I would say is her question is, what do you do? How do you keep up with, ideas that come to you when you can't get things written down? And my example of that is, it happens to me in the shower a lot, or when I'm in the bed about to fall asleep. I get these great ideas or remember things that I need to do, people that I need to call or talk to, and it's not necessarily convenient to write things down at that point. What I would say I have found is conducting regular brain dumps on a weekly basis, definitely on a monthly basis, actually prevents those sort of loose, stray thoughts. So You know, the idea behind a brain dump is you are emptying your brain of all those random things, even things that you don't necessarily need to take action on, but they're filling up space in your brain. If you are doing that regularly, then the number of times that you think of something, you know, that your brain goes, hey, don't forget, and you're in a place where you can't really write it down, decreases significantly because you are regularly exercising that muscle of getting stuff out of your brain and safely into your planning system somewhere so that you don't have to think about it anymore. It's captured in your planning system, and your brain doesn't have to hold on to that idea and remind you of it periodically, and particularly in places that are not convenient anymore because it's in your planning system. So what I would say is the best way to address that without, you know, messing up the dashboard of your car or putting yourself at risk trying to write when you are distracted or doing other things is to establish a routine of regular brain dumps. If you need help doing this, I've got some videos on my weekly review process where I do a brain dump every week. I will leave that listed down in the description box below. That should help you get started with a brain dump routine. I've also got some freebies for brain dump triggers that I use. You can certainly tailor those to what works for you, but I would highly recommend putting a normal, regular brain dump process in place because that's really going to help cut down on the number of items that are just stuck floating around in your head. Love the creativity, Michelle, but I would say be very careful and maybe implement a routine instead of mounting your planner on your dashboard. Okay, this next question comes from Soul Saved, and she actually asked this question on the video about my planner flip through in my B6stology that I started using for One Book July. Prior to that, I had really only been using A5 size, so that was my first time using B6. I loved it, and I have continued to use it. And her question was, this is the B6stology in a Print Pressions cover. Her question was, does it fit in bigger purses okay? Is it better than a personal size? Well, first of all, I'll say I've never used a personal size. So I've pretty much been an A5 size planner user for the most part, and even up to B5 for work in some cases. So I can't really compare it to the personal size, but I will say compared to the A5, it fits great. I tend to carry a little bit larger purses, so actually it fits even better than it did before, but I do have probably my favorite purse for when I'm going to be walking around a lot, like when I travel or, you know, going shopping for the day, is actually a backpack purse that I got off Amazon. It's not really a famous name brand. I'll leave it linked down below. It is absolutely the best purse I've ever had for, you know, when I want to go a little lighter and don't want to have that heavy purse on my shoulder all day. And this planner, this B6 size planner, fits wonderfully in that purse. It also matches a little bit the color, but I'll leave that link down below. But yeah, I think the B6 size is so portable and very easy to carry around. Doesn't take up too much room. It's also easy to pull out and use, you know, depending on what you're doing and where you are. If you want to take it out and you know, drop something in it, it's really easy to grab and use that way. So I can't compare it to the personal size, but I will say it is very portable and it fits in all my purses. Okay, this next question comes from Matthew DBA, and he asked this question on my weekly review video, and he says, I talked about Inbox Zero in the video. He kind of gets what that is trying to accomplish, and he's really looking at deciding if that's something that would be beneficial for him to implement. He wants to know, you know, what is the purpose of Inbox Zero? So for me, Inbox Zero is about limiting distractions. When I open up my inbox and I have 300 unread emails or more, that feels overwhelming. And it feels like it's too much, and I just kind of focus on the most recent thing coming in, and, you know, I get a little bit overwhelmed by that. So opening up my inbox and seeing 5 new emails, that is manageable. I can quickly go through and decide what needs action, what just needs to be filed. It's kind of an FYI. What is something that I want to read later, and I appropriately put those in the right place, and then I block time on my work calendar to to actually deal with those items. So I have a block of time for reading information that has come in that is in my to read box. So I'll go there for an hour and read through as much as I can and status as much as I can. Or if things, require action and I can get it done in a couple of minutes, I'll just do it. But when I open it up and there's 300 emails, there's no way for me to process all of that. I will say that when I implemented the Inbox Zero, it took me an entire weekend. So I spent the weekend going through all of my emails in my inbox, and I want to say I had over 1,000. Now, all of them were unread, but many of them were unread, and just really going through them all and getting through what everything was, deleting a ton of stuff and getting down to zero. And since I did that probably, I want to say 2 years ago, it has been super easy for me to manage my inbox and maintain it at inbox zero, keep things accurately filed, and always feel like there's enough in there that I can get my arms around, but not too much that it's overwhelming. So I guess it's probably a personal preference. If you aren't overwhelmed by your inbox, then it might not be worth the time to spend getting you to inbox zero. But if you really rely on your inbox to capture incoming items and, to sort of set your focus for the day, and you want to keep things accurately filed, then it's probably worth spending the time, especially if when you open your inbox now, you're feeling overwhelmed by it. Then I would definitely recommend taking the time to get to inbox zero. All right, this next question comes from Laura, and she asked, what is the planner cover that I'm currently using right now? This was in one of my weekly setup videos, and so I will pull that out. This is the B6 size snap folio. It is from Printpressions. It does not have rings. It did have strings, but I took them out because I don't need them. But it holds a B6 Stalogy perfectly. It does have the back pocket back there and some really great card slots, the zipper. This is probably one of my favorite planner covers that I've had, particularly for the B6 size. Now, they do come in different sizes and different colors. This is Moroccan clay, which I thought was perfect for summer and moving into fall. It's a really great color. Texture-wise, it's got a little bit of pebble to it, but it's still very smooth. It just really, really great. And you can see my Stalogy is really bulking up, and I'm still able to snap it on the second snap. So I've got a lot of room to grow. This is on the first snap, and you can see I've got a lot more room to grow in it. So I think it's going to expand really well. Now, they also make this, Kane at Printpressions also makes this with an elastic band, which I have and I'm using for a different purpose as well. But I have found Printpressions to be a really great place to get planners. They have regular releases, so there's always something new coming out. And I had one shipping issue with them where they actually shipped me the wrong thing, but they fixed it very quickly, and I ended up with 2 planner covers. So, that's always nice. But yeah, they have a great selection and really great prices. So I would highly recommend Printpressions. I'll leave a link down in the description box for the Printpressions website. Okay, this next question comes from Estevani Turns, and I apologize if I am not pronouncing that correctly. She asked on one of my work bullet journal videos, how do I use my planner to manage teams like performance and development and one-on-ones, etc. I actually included a little bit of information about that in my most recent setup video, so I will go ahead and link that down below in the description box. But basically the key there is to have a place to capture ideas and items. So I actually use 2 planners in my work planning system. One is kind of a bullet journal, my day-to-day, my brain, basically, where I rapid log and capture notes, things like that. And then the other is kind of a reference notebook, and this is an A5 Filofax Rings planner. And I use those 2. The bullet journal is really to capture anything that pops into my head. So I have a dedicated space for each of my one-on-ones every month as I do my monthly setup. And I capture one-on-ones for myself, one-on-ones for each of my direct reports. I also capture, staff meeting ideas, things like that. And then I move them into, after I've had the one-on-ones and the discussions with my direct reports, I move it into the reference notebook, the A5 Filofax rings, so that I can maintain a record of that and really use it at the end of the year when I'm doing like performance reviews and things like that. I will leave that video link down below to hear, if you want to hear a little bit more about how I do that. And if you're interested in getting like more detail and more information and really seeing a walkthrough of exactly how I use my bullet journal and my rings planner, my reference notebook for work, specifically for managing one-on-ones and how I conduct one-on-ones, I would be happy to do a video on that. Just let me know down in the comments below. Okay, this question comes from Angel. It was on one of my work planning videos, and she asked, what do you do for your job? Where do you work? And I'm actually not going to share that information because this YouTube channel is not about my profession and my job. What I will say is I'll describe kind of, what it is the type of work I do and kind of the sort of business that I'm in. So I work for a Fortune 250 company. I work in the corporate office. I am a leader, a mid-level leader with the company that I work for. I have direct reports. I recently moved into a new position. I have been on the operations side of the business for years, many, many years, and I recently moved into the corporate strategy side of the business. So that has been quite a change for me. And when it comes to my planning system has to support all that. So it has to support, the type of work that I'm doing. It has to support being a leader, and it also has to support, having direct reports and setting goals and, monitoring and tracking metrics, giving my leadership updates and managing, a department and a group. So that's a little bit about what I do. I won't go into too many more specifics because, again, this channel is all about planning, not my job, but that's kind of the type of work I do. I would be very interested. Are there any other leaders, people leaders, who are watching this channel? If so, leave me a comment down below and let me know that. I get a lot of questions every time I talk about things I'm doing in my planning system around leadership. I get a ton of questions about that. So that seems to be something that, a lot of you are very interested in. Veronica asks, how did my morning routine journey go? So I talked about, I believe it was my July goals video. I'll find it and leave it linked down in the description box below. But I talked about really needing to set up a more, structured morning routine, make sure I'm getting all the things done in the morning that I wanted to do, and really kind of reset that process. And it was really funny. I expected it to be much harder than it was. I put a lot of focus on, planning for it and, laying out different options that I was going to try. And actually, the funny part was, as soon as I decided that I wanted to restructure my morning routine and kind of reset on that and really focus in on it, I actually immediately started having a morning routine. And so that just goes to the point that, goals are so important. Writing goals down, and, really committing to goals. That is so powerful, because for me, what I found is as soon as I determined that I was going to make that a goal, and I wrote it down and I actually tracked it and put it in my planner, I had absolutely no problem readjusting and getting into the routine. And so I actually didn't need to spend nearly as much time as I thought I would trying out different routines and evaluating and journaling about it. I really just, as soon as I wrote it down and set my mind to it, I did it. And for me, that is what goal planning is all about. It's not so much the making sure your goals are huge and big and challenging. It's more about just writing it down and committing to it. And there's some accountability, for at least for me, when I write something down and I say I'm going to do it, and then I know I'm going to have to come back and track it and evaluate how I did. There's something about that just really motivates me. And so my morning routine is fantastic. I committed to it, and now I have really been getting a lot out of it. And it's actually impacting several of my other goals because I am focusing first thing in the morning. I'm a morning person, so first thing in the morning is a great time for me to really focus on goals. And as soon as I set that and put my attention to it, wrote it down, my morning routine is up and running great. All right, so speaking of goals, I think I have found the last sticker to go on my little dashboard here. And I absolutely love this. This is going to be so great in my planner, just as kind of a little dashboard motivation, lots of different stickers from different sticker books, and I really needed to use it up. I love this hand sticker, Reach for Your Dreams. I just think that's so creative and eye-catching, and I will be able to just tip that right into my planner as kind of a motivational page. I could see this going in the front of my next B6stology as I set that up, just to kind of set the tone for goals. So I really hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you kind of enjoyed the process. I hope that you grabbed some stickers and went to town like I was, in this video. And I really hope you enjoyed the Q&A. I would love to hear your questions. I so appreciate the engagement that we get to have in the comments and on the Planning Annie Facebook group and over on Instagram. I love hearing from you. I love hearing about what's working for you. I love getting ideas from you all. So keep all of that coming. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Planning Annie for more content like this. And as always, thanks for planning with me.